So today I'm talking about Sting in WWE2K15 and the tour to settle the score. Eros Comedy's tour featuring WWE Hall of Famer Class 2005, the Hot Rod, Rowdy Roddy Piper. Well, firstly, Sting, WWE2K15, a pre-order bonus. Well, I attended the Eros Comedy Tour to Settle the Score event on Tuesday night at the garage in Glasgow, Scotland. So, I was unable to watch Monday Night Raw live as I normally do every Monday. And, I'm one of those people, I don't like to be late for things that perhaps is part of it, but sometimes I can't get to sleep knowing that I have to go up really early in the morning. I had to go up early to go catch the train to get through to Glasgow to go and see the show. And I couldn't sleep, so I put on Raw. I was already way into it at that point, and I thought I'll rewind it, see what's the general things that's happened on the show. And I still haven't actually had the chance to sit down and watch the whole show yet, but I rewound it and I found the advert that we've all seen declaring that Sting will be a part of the WWE2K15 video game. Now, I've been a huge Sting fan since the late 1980s, since WCW started being shown on ITV Channel 3 here in the UK. So I followed him throughout my life, since the late 80s, well before he won his first World Heavyweight Championship from Ric Flair at the Great American Bash in 1990, through to the NWO days, through to the end of WCW. And of course, since the end of WCW, we've seen many of the top stars in WCW appear in WWE. Whether they were WCW guys who made their name in WWE and then returned to WCW, like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, whether it be WWE guys who went to WCW like Hogan and Savage, or whether it be WCW guys like Goldberg and Diamond Dallas Page, we've all seen them appear in WWE at some point. Apart from, of course, Savage, who sadly passed away short before he was able to do it. But apart from that, the rest of them, we've all seen them. Well, even though Savage was in a WWE video game, so I guess it counts. We've all seen them appearing in WWE at some stage. All apart from Sting. And, for 13 years we've known that Sting would eventually appear in WWE. He, of course, delayed it quite a bit by going to TNA. And since he left TNA, the rumours swirled around. Even just before he left TNA, rumours were swirling around that he would actually be ending up joining WWE. Now, there's been no reports of him signing a talent contract as of yet, but he will be in WWE2K15. That's number one. Number two, Sting t-shirts are now being sold on WWEshop.com. Not in the Euroshop, unfortunately, and I'll wait till they're on the Euroshop to buy them, because the post and packaging can be quite prohibitive of actually ordering from the United States. Not really the post and packaging most of the time, but a few times I have been charged by customs, unfortunately, for these items, and I'm not willing to chance paying it, but I'm sure they'll be on Euroshop soon. And, of course, the fact that Sting will be the subject of a career collection DVD coming up soon, I believe near the end of September. So we are, as we say in Scotland, a baw's hair away from Sting actually appearing live on WWE programming, and I'm sure it'll be very soon. Now, the WWE2K15 video game is going to be released on October 28th in the United States and October 31st, which I believe is quite ironic considering the character of Sting. If you know the background to the black and white Crow-esque Sting character, internationally. So October 31st internationally for the release of WWE 2K15. And for those who may wonder, or those too young not to know really about the background of the black and white Sting, Sting was the bleach blonde, surfer, fun-loving guy in WCW in the early 90s. Then the NWO came in and took over WCW. They, according to many people, including Sting, ripped the heart and soul out of WCW. They took it over. You look at the WWE Network or all the WCW DVDs that have been released featuring WCW content, like the best of WCW pay-per-views or the best of Nitro, or some of the career retrospectives that now feature WCW footage, and you'll see the NWO took over WCW. So really, the character of Sting had its heart and soul ripped out. They killed the character of Sting, and much like Brandon Lee, may he rest in peace, in the original, and I think it's still the best Crow film, he was brought back to life. Although we never really got a huge explanation for how he came back of it, but he came back in this Crow-esque gimmick, the black leather jackets, the black and white face paint. He came back and battled the NWO. So it's kind of it was all based on the night before Halloween, I believe it is. I cannot remember what the name of it is at the moment, but it's all kind of based on that Halloween night, the night before Halloween, and where they used to wreck the whole city and set lots of fires and that. If you've ever watched the Crow film, you'll know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't watched the Brandon Lee film, The Crow, go ahead and watch it, especially if you're a wrestling fan. It gives you a great background. Just think of it as the bad guys in the film are the NWO and Brandon Lee is Sting, and you'll understand more about the character, the background of Sting. Although I'd say watch obviously the WCW stuff that's been released, or if you've got it in America, if you're in America, the WWE Network stuff. I don't know exactly what WCW stuff is up on the WWE Network so far, but you watch the Crow film, you'll get a great understanding what I'm talking about. Apart from his girlfriend getting also murdered, ignore that part. Actually think of the girlfriend as WCW, World Championship Wrestling. Then you'll get a lot of the explanation of the Sting character. It's much easier that way than me sitting here trying to explain the whole character and the basis of it. But I've always been a Sting fan throughout all these years, and I'm really glad to see him really so close to joining WWE. I'm really looking forward to getting this game. I was already going to get it on the PlayStation 4. It's been rumoured for months that Sting would be joining WWE, and certainly, with him being in the video game, with WWEshop.com selling Sting t-shirts, with the Sting Ultimate Collection DVD coming out at the end of September, we are so close to Sting appearing in WWE that it's my opinion that we will actually see him around about SummerSlam, perhaps on the pay-per-view itself, or I would prefer it the night after SummerSlam, to make his debut, long-awaited debut, after for more than 13 years, because he had received many offers during his tenure in WWE and WCW by WWE to bring him aboard the company to join Vince McMahon and the WWE family. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the very first time that Sting steps out into a WWE television program live. Really looking forward to it. It is going to be a moment certainly that fans will never forget. So moving on now, because a lot of people I know have discussed the subject about Sting joining WWE, and it's been confirmed that the two generations of Sting thing means that we'll get a bleach blonde surfer look Sting and a black and white WCW look Sting in the video game. And I know a lot of people have talked about this, and I'm talking about it again, but it's a massive subject. One of my absolute all-time favourite wrestlers joining WWE, certainly something I'm not going to ignore on these YouTube videos. But moving on now to another one of my absolute all-time favourite professional wrestlers, Rowdy Roddy Piper, and the tour to settle the score. As I said, I attended it on Tuesday. It was the Garage nightclub in Glasgow. Perhaps tomorrow I will upload a video with a lot of the photographs that I took at that event. There's a few there that I really liked. I thought they were really funny. Him posing kind of a little bit. Well, as he did different, as he took, adopted like, different positions during the during the tour. He was one point sitting in his seat with his head down, and there's quite a few funny poses and well, not really poses, but moments captured on when I took the photograph. So I'm going to upload that perhaps tomorrow, because there are genuinely some really good photographs actually took during that show. There was a little bit of delay getting in. Unfortunately, I'm not sure entirely why, but it was really great. I had the VIP ticket, so I got to see him. Got a couple of things signed. You're only supposed to get one thing signed that you brought for each person. My brother, because he had also met Roddy Piper a couple of years ago, 2012, in August 2012. The last time Roddy was over in Scotland, where he was brought over by Scottish Wrestling Entertainment for their Hell for Lycra 9 event. He had a few things signed then and got pictures and that with Roddy Piper. So he got his picture taken, but he didn't bother bringing anything to sign because he got a load of things signed, as I said, 2012. But I got a few things signed. Firstly, I got the T-shirt, the Berlin T-shirt, and you see the printed signature that's on every T-shirt of Rowdy Roddy Piper. It's actually got the tour dates on the back as well. So that was fantastic. Great to get one of these T-shirts. I also got a replacement Hot Rod T-shirt, the traditional white and red Hot Rod T-shirt. You see the Hot Rod, the traditional Hot Rod writing, which will replace now. I will not be wearing the other one that I wore on SummerSlam 2012 and Piper's Pit that very same week, 2012. And one of the signature things I got was this picture signed by Rod himself. That is me, August 25th, 2012, Perth Stewart Centre, Scottish Wrestling Entertainment's Hell for Lycra 9 event. He invited me up to do a little bit of a dance thing during that event on Piper's Pit. I was the very first guest, I believe, in Scotland to ever be on Piper's Pit. Certainly the first one for many years. I think genuinely was the very first guest on the very first edition of Piper's Pit in Scotland. So I got that signed. That was absolutely fantastic, and that will sit extremely well. And this may sound a little bit of a bit of boasting thing, but it's one of the reasons that I went was to get that picture signed, and that will sit very well with the picture I got from WWE.com that I got Roddy to sign on the day of Hell for Lycra in 2012, which is that one. That's the picture taken, and it's a little bit shiny there, but you see that kind of, it's maybe there a bit better. You can see he signed that. That's the picture from WWE.com. He signed that 2 years ago, so that will sit very well with that picture I got signed on Tuesday. I also actually got his book signed as well. He's happy to sign the book as well. And I have to say, when it came to the show, it was over an hour and a half of sitting, hearing Roddy Piper tell just some of the stories, some of the tales that he has, some of the things he has experienced during his life and career. Like he said, it would take many shows, and it would take a considerable marathon show just to get through some of the stories that he has to tell. Honestly, some of the stories that I've heard before, whether it's through his Piper's Pit with Roddy Piper podcast that he has on podcast1.com, that's podcastone.com, or you can find it on iTunes for free. Whether it be on the previous incarnation of that show called The Rod Pod, one of which he actually did right here in Dundee, Scotland, at the TFM studios with the $1 Million Man Teddy Biossi and members of the Scottish Wrestling Entertainment roster. I've got a copy of that show. I listened to it a few weeks ago. It's really funny. or whether it be in his book, In the Pit with Piper. The foreword is actually written by Bret the Hitman Hart. You may see that there at the top. Some of the stories that I've heard are in this book. A few of the stories I'd already heard. But as a famous Irish comedian's catchphrase said, it's the way I tell them. And really, genuinely, even if you had heard a few of these stories before, and I don't know what stories he will tell throughout the rest of the tour, where the tour runs, I think, to July 28th. I don't know what stories he will tell, what experiences he will retell to the different audiences. But even if you've read the book or seen his WWE Born to Controversy DVD, it really is absolutely hilarious. Some of the added comments that he made, some of the impressions of the people that he's telling the stories about, and even some of the stories he hadn't told before were absolutely hilarious and really, really, absolutely worth going to, worth hearing. We were absolutely laughing our asses off. We were genuinely laughing a hell of a lot. My brother told me he hadn't heard many of the stories, so he was absolutely laughing. Even, like I said, about the comedian's catchphrase, it's the way I tell them. I'd heard a few of the stories before, and I was even laughing at them again because not only they were so hilarious stories, but it was the way that he told them, he recanted, and some of the stuff. And I'm not going to go and tell any of the stories that he told. I'm not going to say about stories that he told, like the one about Mad Dog Vachon, and Roddy Piper driving Mad Dog Vachon around, and the time they went into a restaurant, and Roddy was broke, so you can only order ask for a glass of water, and Mad Dog Vachon. The whole story goes from then, and I'm not going to step on his toes and start telling these stories, because you need to hear them from the man himself. Like I said, I don't know what stories he's got in store for any different audiences. I'm sure he wouldn't want to bore himself or the fans either by telling the same story night after night. But whatever stories he tells, they're hilarious. You will thoroughly enjoy them. A few of my friends went, like Billy went to the Inverness date, Julie went to the Edinburgh date last night. They really thoroughly enjoyed themselves. It really is something worth going to. If you have tickets for one of these Eros Comedy Tours to Settle the Score dates featuring Rowdy Roddy Piper, or whether you're considering buying one of the few remaining tickets for the remaining dates of the tour, do so. Attend this show. Not only in fact that you'll probably get to meet the guy if you get a VIP tickets, and I don't know how many VIP tickets. I'm not part of Eros Comedy. Check Eros Comedy on Facebook, EROS Comedy on Facebook, for all the information regarding tickets and what tickets are left, because some of the shows, the VIP tickets are already sold out. But genuinely, go to the show, listen to his stories, listen, absolutely fantastically funny, and he genuinely proved why he is one of the most respected men in professional wrestling when it comes to simply putting him on a stage with a microphone in his hand, and how he can entertain the fans. Genuinely, he does not need anything but an audience and a microphone to entertain the fans. There was no glamorous setup for the show. There was a screen featuring a few of the pictures so that he could show some of the fans who may not have quite known about some of the people he was talking about, the Johnny Valentines, and the Larry the Axe Hennig, because he told the story about his very first professional match. He's had over 7,000 of them in his career. Just to show the pictures of a few of the guys that he was talking about, because not everybody will know these names or recognise these names. They may know the person, but not really know exactly who he's talking about. So there was a few pictures of the people he was talking about. But there was just basically, other than the screen to show a couple of pictures, there was a chair, a microphone, and a microphone stand. That was all. A steel chair, a microphone stand. That he actually even, which was hilarious, because everybody cheered at this point. He kind of threw the microphone stand to the side because it was getting in his way a little bit. Absolutely hilarious, really funny. And as I said, if you have a ticket to one of these shows, or you're concerned go to the show, please go, because he was absolutely hilarious. Really went to prove that this guy, like I said, doesn't need anything but an audience and a working microphone in his hands. For me, it was well worth going there. Not just get one of the main reasons why I went was to get that picture signed of me on Piper's Pit. But it is for anybody else that doesn't have anything like that. Go and see Roddy Piper. Like he said it last time when he was over in 2012 for Scottish Wrestling Entertainment. He never knows what opportunity he will get to do things like come over to Scotland again. And it was 2 years since he came back. It's been 2 years since he came over the last time, and that was the first time for over 20 years. SWE were able to get him to come over, and that was fantastic. And he's been brought over again 2 years later by Eros Comedy. But I would strongly suggest to go. Not only if you're a wrestling fan, to meet this one of the biggest names in professional wrestling, a WWE Hall of Famer, but also to sit there, listen to some of his fantastic stories. Who knows when it will be the next time that Rowdy Roddy Piper will be able to make it across the Atlantic Ocean to the UK and Ireland and be able to entertain the fans as he did on Tuesday night. And as I said, a lot of people have gone to the tour. A lot of great comments on Facebook, on Twitter, on the websites, talking about how great these past couple of shows were. The Scottish dates are done. He's in Belfast tonight, preparing for the show as I record this. So really looking for people to really to go out, to turn out for these shows. I'm sure. As I said, I cannot say it highly enough. Go to the shows, because you may regret them. May regret it if you don't. I know there have been a few shows that I've been unable to get to because I've not been to many of these kind of question and answer story shows, the one-man shows in the past, and I've really regretted not being able to make it to them. And this is, as I said, your chance to meet one of the. And he truly, on Tuesday night, showed exactly why he's one of the most respected talkers in professional wrestling. So go to the show if you want. You're really thinking about it, go to the show. It's a great night, fantastic entertainment. You never know what stories he'll tell, what experience, and overall, as I said, you'll really enjoy it, particularly if you're a fan of Rowdy Roddy Piper. So it was overall a fantastic show. I am really glad that I went, not just getting the picture signed, but to be able to meet him again. You never know when these sorts of people, these legends, these Hall of Famers, will be able to come over to the UK and host a show such as Eros Comedy's The Tour to Settle the Score. As I said, check Eros Comedy on Facebook for all the latest information on availability of tickets and the upcoming show dates.